From the committee members, I've got Josue from South Tucson, Dion from Marana, Sergio from Sarita, Blake and Greg from DTM, Jose from Oro Valley, and Che, good to see you, my friend from ADOT. And from the logistics support team here at PAG, I got Bree, Jeff Hildebrand, Jesse, Isa, and Gabe. Anybody I missed?
Hey Rick, this is Greg Orsini. I got Hal Feldman here. We're in the office together.
Got it. Greg and Hal and Cheryl, I just saw you pop up. So is that you're there?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. All righty. Let's see. Looks like that covers everybody. Anybody else? Did I capture everybody? Okay.
Rick,
Good.
Cheryl did just come in. I think she was trying to speak, but she was muted.
Okay. Cheryl, I got you. Okay, cool. And thank you, Bree. All righty. Fantastic. And thanks. Okay. Um, hit that too with our in-kind. All right, gang, as you know, regional planning efforts are enhanced by recording our time donated by our attendees, volunteers, participants. PAG collects all this data dedicated to meetings and activities to apply for use as matching funds on grants, federal dollars. If you're paid with any of the federal dollars, please let us know now. Time spent in preparation for this meeting is going to be estimated by the staff who are knowledgeable of the agenda, the meeting materials, and at the conclusion, the session report will automatically calc the time spent on this meeting. Time spent working on PAG and RTA initiatives, programs, and special projects may also be eligible for consideration of matching funds. Nothing else changed. Okay, fantastic. All righty. Our next item up, safety updates from our end. Gabe, the floor is yours, my friend. What you got?
Thanks, Rick. Hey, everybody. Happy New Year. Um, yeah, when we last talked, we were just wrapping up the Valencia Design RSA. We've now concluded that and submitted the report to the county. Since then, we have been involved in a lot of RSA efforts. We've started some work at the request of Saguaro National Park. We've been working out on Saguaro National Park East, started some initial work out there. A week before Christmas, we did a very TPD involved Fort Lowell road safety assessment. Had a ton of involvement from TPD, probably a dozen officers off and on over the couple days. It was pretty impressive. And we appreciate the involvement with the city of Tucson and that organization. Um, we've started on some initial work on a mini RSA, the request of the county, down at Mission and Irvington Place. And we have some other requests on the books, but those are in the works, and I'm going to get started on, or hopefully we'll get started on those in the next month or two. Any questions on RSAs? Moving on to HSIP, things are proceeding. We've already let you know about the award for those funding applications. We have had some good meetings with ADOT and City of Tucson DTM on project delivery, so that's been really positive, and I think we're moving in a good direction there. That's about it for me, except I did want to point out, and Richard's usually here, but he's not here today, but I did have the pleasure of going up to Phoenix for their ribbon cutting of their 100th Hawk, and it was quite nice. They called out Richard by name, Mayor did, and said, "Well, we wouldn't have these if it weren't for an engineer down in Tucson named Richard Massey." So that really brought a smile to my face, and I thought that the group would appreciate that too. So.
Not great accolade for what's been accomplished, and 100 of them, when you think about it, is awfully impressive. Is it
It's
100
awfully
just up there
impressive.
in their area, correct?
100 just in there, just in the city of Phoenix itself, not even in the MAGA
In the
region.
metro? Okay, just
Yeah,
in Phoenix. Okay.
yeah, they're catching up with us. We're well over 150 in our region currently, and we've got more that we're building, but yeah, they're catching up quick. So it's a good competition. That's it for me. Does anybody have any questions for me on safety program?
Okay, hearing none. Gabe, thanks a million. Appreciate it. Let's see, and you covered the ones coming up in the spring. Okay, so good. Yeah, probably plan on getting into more detail probably at the next meeting in, I expect March. You'd have a little bit more to share on those once you've kind of gotten into them.
Exactly. Yep,
Perfect.
exactly.
Good deal. Perfect. And thank you. Okay. With that, let's transition and now hear from the jurisdiction side. Any updates any of the member jurisdictions want to share on any highlights, particular safety efforts, programs, project updates, anything for the good of the group that anybody wishes to share?
Hi, Rick, it's Cheryl.
Cheryl, go for it. What you got? What you know?
Just for sharing, we do have our federally funded flashing yellow arrow project that is out for bid right now from ADOT, and the bid opening is February 7th. And that's for 2 of our intersections on Tangerine at La Cañada, and then at First Avenue, Rancho Vistoso.
Refresh my memory. How long does it take to install those? That's a relatively quick installation. That should be in place if they're opening bids in February, probably up and operating by what, late spring? That's not going to take them too long to do, is it?
Yeah, it shouldn't take too long. It's a little bit longer for us because we do have to replace the controller cabinets because we don't have enough landings in the ones that we have right now.
Got it. Anticipate up and running. So probably closer to summer. Would that be a reasonable
Oh yeah, that's pretty quick work.
and in operation?
Because we got to replace that cabinet in 1 day, so.
So one thing I'll pass on for the good of the group, and you guys know this because it's going back over the course of many, many years on the federal funding. So we've seen, I think, good success with Sahuarita, Marana, and Oro Valley as non-CA agencies. They've gotten into the federal game and have dipped their toes into those waters. We've been watching it from our side here at PAG and through the RTA projects and have seen some really good application of best practices. We've been trying to keep a sharp eye on that stuff. So fortunately, the knowledge level is enough to where, okay, folks are going into it wide-eyed and knowing what they're getting into. And I want to really commend the 3 non-CA jurisdictions because you've really gotten into it, known what you're getting into, and then really come through and delivered on it. So it's easier in the CA arena, obviously, with the city and the county, but I was glad to see the other ones doing it as well. So if anybody's got questions, how those run, advice, lessons learned, boy, I wish I could do this differently. We seem to have a pretty good sophistication on that with those projects across those 3 entities. So anybody on this that's kind of wondering, hey, how's it going? Should we, shouldn't we? Feel free to continue to reach out to the partners on that one because we've seen good track record on it. So congratulations and thank you guys for that.
Just to add on that, Rick, ADOT's been great to work with.
Which is really fantastic. That's the testimony I've been hearing on several fronts is the LPA section has really, really upped their game. And not that they were bad, but sometimes process gets in the way to productivity. And I think there's been a high emphasis on delivery, production, improvements on the streets type of thing. And I'm glad to hear that's echoing across all the communities as well. So good deal and thank you. Anyone else got anything they want to share from a standpoint of safety upgrades within the jurisdictions?
Rick, I have a question.
Go for it, Dion.
It's safety related, so maybe I'll ask it now. I am reading an article about evacuation and the fires in Los Angeles and how problematic that has been because of, well, the terrain largely, but also traffic volumes. And I'm wondering whether the region has some sort of evacuation planning. This article refers to some evacuation planning that Los Angeles County has, and I'm wondering whether the region has something similar. And one of the reasons I'm asking is I am expecting one of the communities in Dove Mountain to reach out again because of their concern. They have one road in and then one road out, and in the past they've expressed concern about fire evacuation and So I'm thinking that this news is going to renew some of those inquiries, and I'm wondering what the regional structure is regarding evacuations.
It's a good question. Gabe, I know when we were working with Paul and we were doing the emergency response stuff, I can't remember if evacuations fell under that umbrella when we do those workshops. Um, I'm drawing a blank on it at this moment. Is there anything formal in place? I don't think PAG ever initiated that, but I'm trying to remember what the jurisdictions had in place when we were doing those workshops. Does any of that ring a bell for you?
Not really. I think that may have been touched on, but yeah, is Paul in the audience?
No, I
He
haven't
might
got
be able to
Paul,
speak to that better.
unfortunately. So we
No, I
may
don't
have
see
to
him.
come back on that one. Dion, I think that's a worthwhile question. So I'm going to fumble through this answer by saying that when we used to host the annual workshops, I can't even remember what we'd call it. And it was really more or less the emergency providers across all the entities that would get together, kind of rate ourselves. It was a federal highways driven thing, if I remember correctly, kind of a self-assessment more than anything else. PAG hosted it, but we obviously weren't the best ones for it. And I think ADOT had a more active role in that at the time, or maybe State Patrol did. But I'll kind of keep this on the hot list and see if I can do some looking into it and have an update to either pass along to you individually or share at a future group meeting. Okay.
Terrific. Thank you, Rick.
You got it. And Gabe, yeah, you and I can follow up and see if we need to reach out to Paul and I know he spearheaded an awful lot more of that activity and effort. We can try to reach out to him offline and see if we can connect and get a little more background on where that may be.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got it. Okay. Any other questions, updates? Anyone wants to share on activities underway? I was kind of hoping we'd have a county person here to talk to the Safe
Well,
Streets for All. So, Gabe, do you
yeah,
want to dip your toe into that at all or share anything since I know you're kind of close to it? Obviously, not on their behalf, but anything you feel
yeah,
comfortable with?
yeah, no, absolutely. Actually, I got an email from Lauren. She's having some trouble getting in, so we're trying to connect her into the Zoom meeting. But in the meantime, some updates. The second project steering committee meeting was held on December 16th. Um, and the group discussed the progress made so far, and updates on the safety action plan development. There were some active work items that included the establishment of public involvement plan, the high injury network, policy and standards review, and website development and interactive map.
Have they gotten through all the research efforts and activity? I know there was some basic investigation of what's available, what's out there. Would you say that's still underway, or has that transitioned now into more the development type of things? How would you categorize that?
It's concluding. I mean, they've gone beyond like literature review, if you will, and they've moved more into like, well, what are the active efforts that are happening here? And they've been working with actually some PAG staff among some other jurisdictional staff to figure out what are some active efforts happening and some of the gap analysis with the active modes plan that PAG is engaged in right now. And so they're examining the methodology, seeing where there's overlap, seeing where we can for the SS4A plan where we can make use of existing efforts and not duplicate effort.
Okay.
But yeah, they're getting towards the end of that.
Okay, perfect. And thank you. No, I appreciate
Mm-hmm.
you doing, thank Lauren for sending that to you. Okay.
Sure.
Any others? All righty, hearing none. We'll segue into these are the things we've been kind of tracking and watching. And this is why we keep this group kind of up to date, active, and operating is even if there's not a lot of major stuff, what's the lay of the land? And one of the ones that popped up last time was with regards to max view and kinetics. So I did not see Francisco jump on, but Greg, Hal, or Blake O, anything you guys can pass along in regards to that?
I'm here.
Oh, you
Francisco.
are. Oh, Francisco, I'm so sorry, man. I didn't even see you jumped
I
on. My
jumped in late. Sorry.
my apologies. No, glad you're here, Francisco. The floor is yours, my friend. What you got? What you want to share?
Well, are gonna look to extend the contract with Q3 because it runs out at the end of June. And there's been some concerns about trying to move to another platform. There's not enough time in 6 months to evaluate a new platform, put out an RFP and do a successful procurement and then move everything over to a new system. So we'll at least have a year or less than a year if we decide to move, or we'll extend the contract with the current provider.
So
I don't,
the extension you're doing is kind of like a short-term extension while you evaluate what you want to do.
well, we're talking to procurement. We might do a 1 year contract with 2 more extensions just to cover.
Got it.
We
Okay.
don't have to apply them. So if we decide to move to another system, we just move over, never apply the extensions.
But you're basically buying yourself some time. Maybe is that a better question to ask?
Yes.
Time to evaluate.
So like there's some concerns were raised by some people, but we don't know if other systems can even accomplish the things people say kinetic signals is not able to accomplish. So we'll have to evaluate other systems to see if it's even worth jumping
Yeah, can
to another
anybody else
system.
even deal with what's being raised?
Yes.
Got it. No, thank you for clarifying on that. I have to go back and reread notes a couple different times to make sure I'm following as best I can. So, one note I'd written down since I've got you guys, and I don't know that I wrote it as well as I should have. Smart mobility section or division, or is it a different group, or is it underneath traffic? I wrote it, and now I'm not sure what I wrote. Can you guys clarify on that just so I've got my arms wrapped around it properly?
I
Yeah,
think
Blake
it's a
here.
division.
It's a different division,
It's a division separate from traffic or under the umbrella of traffic?
separate from traffic. So it's like traffic has plan review, development review, citizen requests, neighborhood traffic management, signal operations, and then smart mobility has traffic maintenance, and then kind of all the tech stuff.
Maintenance and tech stuff. That's a good way of saying it.
ITS stuff.
Yeah, ITS.
Maintenance, and that's an even better way of saying
But
that. Maintenance.
we're small and mighty groups, both of us, so we work across the ball.
So your think tank sessions are, long and drawn out on roll call and meeting minute review and all that stuff.
No.
Okay. No, thanks for clarifying that. I had written it, but I didn't put enough descriptors to understand it. So thank you for that. Okay. Any questions then for Francisco from any of the group members on their efforts with the kinetics and the Q-free effort? Sure, I'm not missing any hands up. Okay, not missing any hands. Okay. As you guys are easy coming out of the new year. Wish I could get all my other committees to work this well. All righty, let's move into our last item, which is our communications update. Francisco, this is typically in your court unless anybody else has anything they want to jump in with. So, open floor. Anybody got anything on this communication side they would like to go over?
From the city, we don't have anything. Everything's running normal.
Nothing new on city front. And Francisco, just to refresh my memory to make sure that, because I just haven't looked at this closely enough or tracked it often enough, the way in my my terms that I understand it is you're still planning and still utilizing a combination of fiber optic with the cell phone provided wireless communication through or I'm sorry, through the cell phone or the cellular network as the support to it, correct? Am I saying that
That
properly? And that's still how you're operating under, and that's meeting your needs and meeting your purposes, correct?
that is correct.
Okay, combination of fiber and cellular. Okay. Anybody else got anything happening? Jay, sorry, I just looked up and saw you. Go for it. What you got?
Not a problem. Good morning, Happy New Year. Yeah, just some updates, I guess. I did, I guess, instigate, trying to get ITS, IGAs, with both the city of Tucson and the town of Marana. And it's basically setting up, um, allowing the agencies to utilize a single buffer tube in um, our fiber system along I-10 and I-19. And so those have both been submitted to the local agencies. I think the one for the city of Tucson went to Blake Richards, so hopefully that's filtering down. I know I've been working with Dion on the one in Morena, so I think those are off to a good start. A little bit later than I wish. I wish I had them last year, but I know our I-10 Ineta Ruthroff project is going to be finishing up this year. I think spring, summertime, kind of in phases. As a result of that project, we're hoping to get our FMS system streamlined through the city, so that we can make all those changes in the fiber splicing and connections for all the equipment along it. Pretty sure Francisco and Blake and myself will need to have a meeting in the near future to kind of go through how all that's going to pan out. Also, there's a design build project. Obviously, I think you guys know about it. I-10 Keno to Country Club. So I finally got them to start talking to the city and the county as far as traffic operations stuff is concerned. So we just had a meeting last month and to move that forward as well. I think construction for that one will be late summer, starting up.
That's what I've heard recently. I was at a APWA meeting this morning, and that's what they indicated is they're thinking summertime-ish, June, July.
Yeah.
Okay, that matches.
So you'll start seeing like utility stuff going on and geotech investigations, things of that nature. But yeah, that'll be the next behemoth of a project in the region.
That's a big one.
And I think I-19 Irvington got pushed to probably the end of this year. What's we got going on? We did have a kickoff meeting with the folks in Phoenix about us transitioning over to KITS. So KITS is Kimley Horn's ATMS. So that's going to be coming this year. I'm not sure how that's going to get implemented. I think they'll start in Phoenix and then work their way statewide. So it will be interesting to see how that pans out in this area. And then I think finally, as far as for me and traffic and engineering in the region, ADOT is going through some organizational changes. Nothing's really gonna change for me, except that it will be almost set up similar to the city. in my mind, in the sense that like all the traffic maintenance and tech folks will be in one group, and all the engineering and safety. Actually, the engineering will be in another group, and then the safety guys will be in another group. But we'll all be kind of umbrellaed in the state engineer's office. So just kind of shuffling people around, business units and group managers and things like this. Yeah, more details to come.
Got
But
it.
yeah,
No,
I
appreciate
don't
that.
see anything changing on my end.
Okay,
So thank you.
good deal. No, thanks. Anything else? Let me scroll through, make sure I'm not missing hands again.
Hey, Rick, this is Dion.
Go for it.
Yes, thank you to Jay for initiating the IGA for sharing the fiber along I-10. The town of Marana has it on the agenda for the 21st of January. It's on the consent agenda, so I'm optimistic that it'll pass.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you again, Jay. And then this is a little bit preliminary, but I understand it's going to be an official announcement by tomorrow. But the town of Marana applied for a railroad crossing elimination grant last year, and indications are that our application has been successful, albeit pared down a little bit. We had asked for a little bit more additional money for funding some right-of-way acquisition. That got pared back, but we're looking at getting about $20 million from the Federal Railroad Administration to grade separate the Cortero Road railroad crossing. And that would include grade separation as well. That would include rebuilding the whole Cortero Road TI. So we're just going to be doing a DCR with the funding that we're receiving. And I understand that the official notification will come tomorrow.
So Dion, I thought I'd heard maybe about a year ago that you had gotten an allocation out of the state for about 10 million for initial design, layout, and some preliminary environmental. Are you the right one to ask, or should I be redirecting that to Fausto? Because it's just more of a curiosity as it relates to RTA Next.
We are using that $10 million as part of our match. I think it's an 80-20 match. And we're using it to leverage additional funds, basically.
That 20 million, so you'll have 30 total. The 10 you've got, the 20 you're going to be getting with the announcement, and that'll get you through the design and environmental.
Yeah.
Perfect, and thank you.
Or 30% anyway. We're only asking for a design concept report at this
Yeah,
point.
I was going to say, if I remember right, we were operating off of a really old one. So when we were having early conversations through the cost estimating part, it was indicated that we were going to upgrade that quite a bit. And that was the efforts you were pursuing. So, okay, that gets me enough to get by for now. And I may follow up with Fausto on that a little bit later.
Yeah, or Jennifer Flood. She
I
might
was
be
going to say, is Jen running? Okay, I can reach out to Jen on that too. Okay,
involved in Fausto.
perfect, and thank you.
Mhm.
Sergio, I saw you got your hand up. Go for it. What would you like to share?
I have a question for Jay Gomes from ADOT. Is there any update on the fiber share on I-19?
Thank you, Sergio. There is an update actually. So I think that was awarded. Basically, ADOT's got a project to connect all the like traffic signal and ITS equipment along I-19 from Tucson to Nogales. I think we're going to be installing several new DMS boards and several new CCTV camera systems. So yeah, that was awarded in November to William Charles. We have had the partnering meeting. I'm not quite sure when they're going to start getting out on the road. So I can definitely keep you in the loop on that because I know we got like a wrong way detection system going in at San Javier and also at Pima Mine, just because of the funky geometrics of those TIs. And then I want to say there's a board somewhere near between Pima Mine and Saudita. So yeah, no, as soon as I get some information, I can let you know.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You betcha.
All righty. Sergio, did you have something else or no, I just saw your hand come down. Never mind. I didn't want to skip over you. I apologize if I did. Any other final questions for anybody on the committee or any other updates?
Yeah, hey Rick, this is Jay. I'm curious. I know we used to have like, was it like 500,000 in a sub program for this committee? Is that coming back? Staying away?
Probably not anytime in the future unless that's associated with RTA Next. The
Gotcha.
current funding right now is outside of what's programmed for some very specific areas that the board has established, like a couple wildlife things that have been active and in place for several years. They're programmed through the TIP, approved there. We've utilized some limited funding to associate with some of the pathway projects to ensure that we're getting to our targets and promises and commitments on that. So it's usually accompanying the match amounts for some of the bikeways, pathways, pedways, and bike boulevard projects. But I don't see anything coming back outside of those that are kind of more opportunistic driven. Everything else is going to the big roadway projects. And even that, we're still in a huge hole if you guys have been watching and listening to the board meetings.
Yeah, I hear it around the office. I just thought I'd ask. Thank you.
No, it's a legit question, and we do get that on various occasions for some of the things because there are some, hey, like how's this one going forward, but not others. Hey, it was in the hopper for several years, so that's why. There are some straggle on that are being wrapped up, delivered, and finalized though, but nothing new coming out the pipeline, at least at this point in time.
Do you have any updates on the RTA Next? I know that there were some public meetings recently.
Yep. So as a short general, the formal open house outreach components of this. So if you think about this as a three-prong effort, we did formal open houses through November, December, and then the first couple of days this week. Those have concluded as of Tuesday, unless the board asks for any others. We also kicked in as part of that effort then our online survey tool that's open, effective, and operating through the end of the month. And then the third prong has been what we affectionately call the hard to reach outreach efforts. And that was requested by the board to augment and complement the open house and online efforts to specifically target those audiences, arenas, neighborhoods, if you will, settings and situations where folks are not normally plugged in or connected and need that type of direct and more specific outreach. That effort's underway and that'll be continuing through the end of January as well. So we've still got roughly 3.5 more weeks of associated all that. It's all in anticipation. The board is still aiming for a November election date. A board meeting has not been scheduled or set for when our next one will be. As you guys may or may not know, they canceled the December one with some of the turnover we've got through the new elections, plus the unfortunate passing of Mayor Honey. So I think they're still trying to regroup, regather, and get educated with what the new membership will look like. So the outreach is continuing despite all that. That could all happen independently, but the board coming together to then evaluate that, weigh that, consider that, make revisions as needed. That has not been identified of when that will happen.
And four. Thank you very much.
You got it. Okay. All righty. If there's nothing else, give me 2 seconds just because I gotta find it. I think our next, I'm gonna keep us with this cycle we've been running off of every other month. So our next one, if you can pencil in and hold 9 to 11, I'm gonna ask Francisco, I'm gonna be following up with you on a item I heard at one of the open houses. So I'll give you a call here later. But if you guys could plan on blocking out 9 to 11, Thursday, March 13th. And with that. Okay, if there's nothing else, oh,
Hey, Rick,
yeah, go ahead, whoever I
just
missed.
wanted to let you know that that's during spring break. I'm not trying to sway you either way, but I figure I'd just let you know.
Okay, March 13th is during spring. I'll have to keep an eye on that. I know our opportunity is sandwiched in amongst multiple others, so I'll keep you guys posted on that, but I'll add that to the mix as well and see how that all shakes out as the next couple of, as we get further into the month of January and kind of see how the committees are going to set up. So thanks for letting me know. Guys, if there's nothing else, then I'm going to call us adjourned at 9:38. It's good seeing everybody. Have a good continued rest of the week and look forward to seeing you guys again soon. So with that, be good, be well, take care, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank
Take care.
you. Take care, everyone.
So
Thank
Always.
you.
Thank you. Have a
Yeah.
good one.